Okay, you get to 45, 50 and they all tell you you're past it. Things are downhill from here on in. You're going to get fatter, your sugar's going to go up, your metabolism's going to slow down. It's downhill from here on in. Well, I'm here to tell you today that if you're over 50, that is wrong. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm Darren from Optimal 180. I'm 58 years old. All my blood markers are in the optimal range. My VO2 max is in the superior bracket. I didn't do this by luck or by taking some expensive, crazy supplement. I did it by bucking the trend. I've developed a blueprint for Optimal 180, which means you can turn your life around 180 degrees, and I'm going to show you today how you can do exactly the same. So most people over 50, they believe the reason why they're feeling sluggish, or they've got the weight gain, they've got a foggy head, they can't think straight, especially in the morning. They think it's the metabolism, but we know that the metabolism doesn't change between 20 and 65. So what is it? If it's not that, then it must be your lifestyle. So if we want to flip this 180 degrees and point you in the direction of optimal, we need to change 3 things. We need to change your nutrition, your physical exercise, and your rest and recovery. Now, I know when you're over 50 or you're around that age, it's difficult because you've got other things to do. But if you want to be a better version of yourself, so you're around longer and able to do more as you get older, then changing in your 40s and your 50s means that in your 60s and 70s, maybe 80s, you're going to have a better, more fulfilling life because you'll be able to do more. You will be able to play with the grandchildren on the floor, you'll be able to walk your dog, carry some shopping bags back from the store. If you want to be able to do those simple things that you take for granted now, when you're 65, 75, then now is the time to change. And how do we do that? Well, in Optimal 180, we've got 3 pillars. We've got pillar number 1 is nutrition. Pillar number 2 is physical exercise. And pillar number 3 is the rest and recovery. Now, if you get the first one right, nutrition, the other 2 become a lot more easier. So base every meal that you have around protein and fats. Avoid as much as possible carbohydrates. The carbohydrates just set you onto a roller coaster of high blood glucose, high insulin, low blood glucose. More, you're on a wave of insulin and blood glucose. That's not healthy, and that's not going to get the best out of you. So if you base every meal on quality fats, quality protein, you're already halfway there. Now, for a breakfast example, would be 2 or 3 or maybe 4 eggs cooked in butter with some bacon, with some avocado. If you don't want that kind of option, you can go for the full fat Greek yogurt, handful of blueberries and some mixed nuts. That is a perfect start to the day. In the evening, then you can have something like a steak, salmon, tuna, chicken. So if you base your meal around the protein choices, and you can mix it all up, so it doesn't feel like you're having the same thing every single day. But you do this for 2 to 3 weeks, you will feel better. So I'm going to run on a bit further, and then we're going to get to pillar number 2. So pillar number 2, you've got to build a metabolic engine. Now when you reach 50, friends and family will say, just have a gentle stroll. Just do things in a gentle way. But that doesn't build a strong and healthy body ready to take on your 60s, 70s and maybe your 80s. When it comes to physical fitness, there's 2 non-negotiables. There's the resistance training element, and then there's the cardiovascular training. Now the resistance training is a good way of building muscle, or at least maintaining the muscle that you do have. If you can maintain your muscle and make it slightly better quality, so more fillet steak than ribeye, the better your metabolic system will be. Your muscle acts as a metabolic dump. So all that glucose that's going around your bloodstream, the muscles have the ability to take it out of the blood, which is better for you in the long run. So as you get older and you don't do any physical training, you don't do the resistance training, you will lose muscle quality, muscle size, and the capability to move and do things. So if you start in your 40s and your 50s, by the time you get to your 60s, 70s and hopefully your 80s, you'll be in a better state and you'll be able to do more. So strength training, where would you start when it comes to strength and resistance training? Well, you can do this and go, right, I'm going to do 3 days a week. So on the Monday, I'll do 10 press-ups. I'll do some tricep dips on a chair at home. I'll do some bodyweight squats, maybe holding some weights maybe. You can do this for a couple of weeks, maybe build up to sort of 50 reps of each exercise a day. And then when you become more competent at that, then you can increase that. So instead of doing 10 press-ups, you do 20. And when you can easily manage 20, you can then do 30. So the whole idea is you progressively get better. So progressive overload, which means that you're working your muscles a little bit harder each time you train. Now, if I was to start from ground zero, I'd probably do this maybe 3 days a week. So you could do a Monday, a Wednesday and a Saturday, for example. And then as soon as you start feeling yourself stronger and more capable, and you're not aching, then you can increase the frequency, the intensity, the time, the fit principles. So the other non-negotiable is cardiovascular training. Now, to be as fit as we can be, we need to train the heart and the lungs. Now, the heart is a muscle, and when we can increase its capacity, that's called stroke volume. That means that when your heart pumps, it can push more volume around the body. So, in theory, the body can pump more blood with less heartbeats. So your resting rate might be 60 beats a minute, but the moment you start sort of progressing in your training, you might reduce that to say 50 beats a minute. That means that your heart is working less to do the same job, so it's become more efficient. Now your lungs has a capacity, and we call that tidal volume. So when we can improve that tidal volume, that means that your oxygen uptake is better. How do we improve cardiovascular fitness? First of all, we start by walking further every day. So on day one, if you're at ground zero, you can just do 10, 15 minutes. By the end of the week, you might be doing 30 minutes. Then you can start incorporating hills. So you go out for a nice stroll, but you make sure you incorporate hills. And then as you get fitter and your heart and lungs become adapted and your muscles in your legs become more improved and they can do more in less exertion, then you can start going, well, okay, maybe I can try some jogging. So you would walk for 100 meters. Maybe jog for 25. Walk for 100 meters. Jog for 25. Over a few weeks, you can build this up to jogging 100 meters, walking 50 meters, jogging 100 meters, and that's like your progression. Now, once you go a bit further down this line, then you might be doing, you could sign up for maybe the Couch to 5K. So you can get the app, and that will take you from being on the couch to running a 5K run. So there are ways you can do it. You don't have to go all in on day one and get yourself an injury and then go, that's it, I've given up. You just do it progressively. The philosophy for Optimal 180 is I want you to be on your path towards optimal. I don't expect you to be optimal on day 2. I expect you to be on the path towards optimal. And if you're coming from ground zero, that means you're starting from zero. So anything you do that's progressive is an improvement to where you were the day before. And as I've said several times in some of these videos, every foot you take forward is progress. Well done for making it this far. Pillar number 3, the recovery phase. This is sometimes the most overlooked part of improving your physical health. Now, if you get this wrong, or if you try and skip this phase, you'll just be treading water. So as we get older, the biological margin of error shrinks. If we're constantly stressed or sleep deprived, the hormone cortisol is always elevated. This can lead to a metabolic disaster. It can directly lead to insulin resistance. And worst of all, it can lead to continued fat storage. So metabolic health doesn't happen when you're lifting the weights or running the 5 miles. It happens when you're sleeping well and you're recovering. That's when your muscles repair, when your hormones reset. That's when the magic really happens, in this recovery phase. So how can we improve our rest and recovery? We can set a schedule. We can make sure we're in bed at exactly the same time every night. We can make sure that we get up at exactly the same time every morning. That resets the body clock and your circadian rhythms. Before we go to sleep, we can have a good sleep hygiene. So we can turn off all electrical devices, your phones, your TVs, 30 minutes before you go to sleep. We can make sure the room is cool, or as best as we can. We can certainly make sure it's dark. And then when our head hits the pillow, if we've eaten well, and if we've done some exercise, we will sleep better. Now, getting older is inevitable, but the rapid decline isn't. That's something that's in our hands to a certain extent. So if we can do all what we can to eat well, exercise correctly, and sleep well, we're on the road to optimal. I know this video has been a bit longer than normal. I really appreciate you staying to the end. Hopefully you've gained something from this video. If you have, please like, please subscribe, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thank you very much for being part of this journey. Have a good evening. See you.